Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sir Jude, and here's the video lecture for our lesson this morning, Male Reproductive System. So we started our formal discussion this year, 2025, last Friday, by me introducing to you the two pituitary hormones which are secreted by the pituitary gland. So the two pituitary hormones that are responsible for our libido, no, are the following. So we have follicle stimulating hormone, or abbreviated as FSH, which produces sex cells, namely sperm cells for males and egg cells for females. While the other one is the luteinizing hormone, abbreviated as LH, which produces sex hormones such as estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. For males, testosterone dominates estrogen and progesterone, but for females, estrogen and progesterone dominate testosterone. All right. So as promised, we dedicated our entire session to the male reproductive system, specifically on its 11 parts and functions. So these are the 11 parts, no, on the left side of the slide. So we have penis, testes, urethra, scrotum, foreskin, epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicles, prostate glands, Cowper's glands, and ejaculatory ducts. So all we had to do is to identify the part and match it according to its respective function. So, number one is the testes, or in Tagalog, it's bayag, and its function is to produce sperm and sex hormones. So, as mentioned a while ago, the dominating sex hormone in males is the testosterone. Okay, I won't spend too much time for testes because we already discussed this last Friday. Number two, notice that there is a skin covering the testes, and that's none other than scrotum or kasuputan, no? And its sole function is to cover the testes. All right. So here are some guide questions related to testes and scrotum. Number one, what will happen if the testes have no scrotum? If the testes have no scrotum, they will have no protection and will likely be contaminated by foreign invaders. So in short, the testes will be vulnerable to infection. Number two, what factor or factors account for male infertility? In Tagalog, when we say infertility, we're talking about being baog. And how does one become baog? So I collated or summed up the factors into four: genetic mutation, lifestyle choices, health problems, and even injuries. Okay? So at this point, basically, both testes and scrotum serve as production and protection of the sperm. So it's now time to have the majority of the sperm outside the male's body. We start with number three, which is probably the most unfamiliar part and the hardest to pronounce. The longest also, the hardest to pronounce, which is epididymis. And the epididymis is the one that matures the sperm. Okay? Now, some males, no, when they grow old and they don't want to have children anymore, they have their fourth part here cut, no, the long but thin tube that connects number three and number five. So that process is called vasectomy. And in vasectomy, the vas deferens or the anuram punlay is cut so that the men won't be able to impregnate women anymore. So what does the vas deferens do? It transports the sperm to the fifth part. Okay? So how does one able to eject the sperm from testes down to the penis, no? So some people undergo masturbation and ejaculation. So masturbation and ejaculation, these are two terminologies that are often interchanged with each other that people thought of as synonymous together, but they're actually different but related at the same time. When we say masturbation, we're talking about the stimulation of genitals when one has higher libido or is horny. Okay? While ejaculation, on the other hand, refers to this discharge of semen. So most individuals know, well, since we're focused on males for today, no, so most males start masturbating or ejaculating probably at adolescence or when they hit puberty at the time when testosterone levels peak, no, and they start getting become more and more curious and more exploratory about their sexual desires and even their sexual identity. So in order to experience pleasure or to probably because of being bored, no, some of them use masturbation and ejaculation as avenues or even ways to decompress. Now, so therefore, the sperm will now proceed to the fifth part. And because our target is to create the semen, the fifth part is called the seminal vesicles or the punlayan. So notice that the semen is wet or sticky. It's because the seminal vesicles secrete a sweet fluid, otherwise known as the seminal fluid. Okay. Then next, it will pass through the sixth one, which is called the ejaculatory ducts. No? And their main function is to convey the sperm and seminal fluid to number seven. So basically, the male reproductive system, even though we're not yet finished, it's just one extensive journey of the sperm from inside, from the testes down to the penis. Okay? So number seven, no? A lot of people, many of you have probably heard what G-spot means and attribute G-spot as a part that solely belongs to females, but there's actually a G-spot also for males, and that belongs to the seventh one, which is called the prostate glands, or the male G-spot, or in the Tagalog, it's the prostata. So the male G-spot is actually found inside well, one of the many parts that are found inside the male reproductive system and inside our body. And since we cannot touch it, and most people experience the ultimate pleasure at the G spot, this is where some people use toys or undergo penetration or even use their fingers uh, just to be able to to nudge the prostate glands. And the prostate glands actually the one responsible for the white appearance of the semen because they secrete a basic milky fluid. Okay? So here's the semen composition according to ResearchGate, no? So the composition of the semen is 5% sperm. Believe it or not, sperm is only 5% of the semen. The least concentration, the one with the least concentration among the three, but it can have as much as 750 million sperm maximum. Then the remaining 95%, 60% is due to the seminal fluid and 35% is brought by the prostate fluid. So in order for a woman to be impregnated, you only need one sperm, no? So the probability of a sperm cell to fertilize an egg cell is one out of the maximum number, 750 million. So each of us who were born, we are the lucky ones, no? We're jackpot, the ones who able to swim successfully and make it through our mother's egg cell. We are the one out of 750 million sperm cells discharged by our fathers. Okay? So in a teaspoon, it corresponds to 5 ml maximum. Although it depends, really depends on the person, no? And also depends on the habit or the frequency of masturbation or ejaculation. Okay? So now, some guide questions. Are masturbation and ejaculation bad? So are you considered evil when you do those things, whether regardless of the frequency? So no, they're not, because they're just ways of expressing your sexual desires and your one way to experience pleasure on your own, especially when you don't have a partner. And if you do that, what's wrong? No, I don't see anything wrong. The only time when it's wrong is when you're doing it excessively to the point that you injure yourself, and when you involve yourself in sexual abuse, when you're asking or forcing someone to do it for your own gain. Okay, and of course when you're doing it publicly instead of privately. Okay. Next, why do sperm cells need to be in a liquid environment? So the sperm cells need to be in a liquid environment because the liquid environment prevents them from drying up and immobility. Remember, sperm cells swim, no? If it starts to dry because of a high temperature, no? Therefore, the the mobility of the sperm cells will decrease to the point that it will also dry. So therefore, the sperm cells uh will die. The men no one will be able to fertilize an egg cell. Number three, why is the prostate fluid basic? So the prostate fluid is basic. No, remember the prostate fluid is one of the components of the semen. It's because the basicity of the prostate fluid prevents the sperm from immediately dying once it enters the vagina. Uh if a male person wishes to be a father someday, no, and only one of only one of the sperm cells will be able to successfully fertilize the egg cell unless there will be twins or triplets or multiple children at one pregnancy, no? Then therefore, the basicity, the coat, rather, the basic coat of the semen prevents the sperm from perishing the moment it enters the vagina. Okay? So now that we have the semen, the components of the semen complete. So it's now time to discharge the semen. So before the semen actually is expelled by the body, there's another fluid that comes out, and that's called the precum, and it's secreted by none other the Cowper's glands. So the Cowper's glands secrete the precum. Then after number 8, it will pass through not only the precum but also urine and the semen in urethra. Number 9, anuran ng ihi, no, which discharges urine and semen, and as mentioned, even precum. So urethra is the only part of the male reproductive system that can also be found in the female reproductive system. The only difference is that the urethra of males is longer, while the urethra of females is shorter. That's the reason why men can hold their urine and wait before actually expelling them for a long period of time, whereas females have to immediately expel their urine. And also, this is where the catheter is inserted, no? When a patient, for example, is too weak to stand up or is amputated or is suffering from any diseases that prevent or injuries that prevent them from moving or going to the bathroom, no? So it's actually kind of painful because you're going to insert it from the penis up until near the urinary bladder. And most of the time, the catheter is actually thick, no? That it had to be gelled in order for the catheter not to be locked inside the penis. All right. So guide questions for your Cowper's glands and urethra. Can one get pregnant from precum? So the answer is yes, because semen passes through the Cowper's glands as well, and together, not together, but they only have one exit, and that's the urethra. No? So may lumabas na kahit isang sperm, then there's a possibility of impregnating a woman. Next, why cannot the men urinate when they're about to ejaculate? So one possible answer is because isa lang yung pwedeng lumabas because isa lang yung pwedeng lumabas at a time because isa lang yung kanilang exit way, no? And when sexually aroused, the urinary bladder shrinks, blocking the access of the urine. It's just like traffic lights, no? You cannot have the same uh you cannot have two liquids being expelled in one go because it will be painful. No, one has to go first over the other, and usually it's when sexually aroused or when a man ejaculates, it's usually the semen first that goes out before the urine. Okay, the next is the semen safe and healthy to ingest. So part of one's curiosity is tasting and uh, swallowing semen, which is to be honest, no, this is really dark uh question here because this is where it involves fetish. But at the same time, as I mentioned last week, we're trying to be open-minded. We're opening our circle of consciousness. Now we're widening our understanding and compassion without embarrassing or finger wagging people. We are human beings. We are sexual beings. We experience libido. We have sexual desire. So for me, there's nothing wrong when we're having this kind of open-minded conversations. Okay, so yes, as long as the male discharging it does not suffer from sexual-related diseases, but it's not something that you have to consume every day and to use as I don't know, vitamins or supplementary um what do you call this, supplementary meal, no? So part of fetish, yes, but not the basic part of our meal. Okay. So we're now down to last two. We have penis and foreskin. So penis, or in Tagalog, it's tite. It's the male organ of copulation. Obviously, the sperm cannot enter the vagina by themselves. So the males have to insert their penis inside the vaginas of the female. Again, when someone younger than you asks or is curious or becomes inquisitive about their private part, you don't you just mention the direct translation, no? Tite, and not any malicious and other terminologies that don't have something to do with the penis. You don't call penis as hot dog or espada or a sword or let's say a bird because it doesn't fly, it doesn't use it doesn't stab, it's not a food. Okay, so when you teach younger generations about and when they're curious about their private parts, just mention the actual and direct translation because there's nothing wrong with it. No, because inserting maliciousness only creates shame and gives birth to even more maliciousness. Okay? And lastly, the skin covering the head of the penis is the foreskin. No, this is the one that is actually removed during circumcision, normally done between ages 8 until 12 years old. All right? So, guide questions about penis and the foreskin. Why is the penis erect every morning, especially after waking up? So, this is the phenomenon called morning wood, no? Or in Tagalog, tumitigas yung titip pagkagising sa umaga. That's because the dominant sex hormone in males, the testosterone, its concentration are super high every morning. And probably another influence is because it's cold. Okay? Ayan. Next and last guide question, why is the foreskin removed circumcision? So traditionally, during the age of colonization, no, circumcision is a slave mark or sign of being colonized. Pag alipin ka, tutuliin ka. Okay? It's also a form of punishment or embarrassment. So if you are proven guilty of a sin or a crime, then one of your punishment is tuli. And remember before, ang tule is pukpok. I mean, may nagpupukpok pa today but sa probinsya na lang. no? Because may access na tayo to healthcare sa mga clinics and hospitals. Third is for religious purposes or faith in God. Fourth is rite of passage, sign of being a quote-unquote big boy, part of growing up, transition from late childhood to early adolescence. And for medical reasons and health reasons is to prevent microorganisms and foreign invaders from being trapped in the penis. Okay? So those are the 11 parts of the male reproductive system, from testes, then to scrotum, epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicles, ejaculatory ducts, prostate glands, Cowper's glands, urethra, penis, and foreskin. As I mentioned, the entire male reproductive system is one extensive journey of the sperm from inside to outside of the male's body. So to wrap up, if the main purpose of the reproductive system is the procreation of species, then what is the male reproductive system for? The male reproductive system is for sperm provision. Okay, so dami-dami na diniscuss natin, tagabigay ng sperm ang lalaki. Okay? So how must males take care of their reproductive system? So ayan, these are some of the actions that are always taught to us when we were kids, no? So you have to bathe every day and observe good hygiene, have a balanced diet, ample exercise, and a healthy lifestyle for healthy sperm and normal count of sperm. Regularly consult with doctor. Practice safe sex by wearing condoms, drink pills that diminish chances of sexually transmitted diseases, avoid contact with people with sexually transmitted diseases, etc. But regarding with the pills part, no, it must be consolidated and have approval of your doctor consultate and also your parents, especially since most of your minors. Okay, so this portion of reproductive system is complete because in order for one to procreate a species, you also need an egg cell from the females. So we're now done with the male reproductive system, and tomorrow we'll now shift our attention to the female reproductive system. Till then, this is Sir Jude. Thank you and goodbye.